yeah, let's go into archetypes. So this one, so I'll bring this up here. So Missy, I guess if you want to kind of read just a little, start us off with that little introduction.
Okay. So at the start of the game, players may choose from 8 archetypes, which essentially defines a character's role. We're fairly similar to the holy trinity of class identity. I think that the way our primary archetypes and secondary archetypes, the combination of that creating these 64 different classes, it is a goal to kind of blur the line between those identities, that standard trinity that's present. I think additionally the way that we're developing classes is to be that rock, paper, scissors type of interaction, especially balance them around group versus group kind of dynamics or group dynamics, and by utilizing the augment system, allows for players to kind of take skills outside of just the realm of their identity and into a different area.
And don't want to work unless I'm doing the wrong one. Let's see here. So yes, we have tank, which is kind of correct. They actually call it tank, but oh, heist. Okay, I was missing the actual thing. Thank you, Chris. Thank you. So you have tank, mage, fighter, cleric, rogue, summoner, ranger, and bard. I'm pretty sure these descriptions are actually in this. So we're going to do, so as far as our type goes, it looks like bard is arcane, cleric is arcane. So it looks like that's our, so instead of melee and ranged, you're going to have martial, which is your physical, arcane is your magic, of course, so they're just calling it a little bit different. There you go. All right, so I guess moving down to bard here. All right, Missy, let's check out what the bard's all about.
All right, truly a force multiplier, the bard weaves songs of glory and conquest, inspiring his comrades to even greater heights. The bard knows secret and powerful words, is able to speak into being terrible nightmares, or convince foes to become friends. Bards are a support role that makes a party better as a whole. Bards are intended to amplify a party or raid's ability to perform within their own class. That amplification isn't just intended for DPS, but also for support, for healing, for taking damage, for movement. Bards have often been portrayed as a musical class, and while they can be that, many bard applications may exist in just telling a story. Telling a story is going to be the thematic component of how the bard interacts with the party, and that story is going to enhance players' abilities to perform. Very similar in a way to buffing up a party, but you are not going to see him as a buff bot that you might have experienced in previous games, where they are only good for their buffs and then you kick them out of party and they sit in a corner and come back in 30 minutes. Those buffs are going to be related to how they perform. Poor
That's cool.
bards getting sent to the corner.
Right. All right. Well, it looks like they kind of break down the classes. We're going to be going into the classes. So as I said, the archetypes are your main. So you'll pick this. This is like the very first thing that you pick. And then at level 25, you should be choosing a secondary class, which will add on to, through augments, the spells. So an easy one to talk about is if you were a summoner and you became a mage as your secondary, your beast, let's say you summoned a werewolf, and because you have the aspect of a mage, the beast's claws would become like flame talons, for example. So it enhances your spells through augments. Another simple one is if a fighter has a charge ability and he takes a mage as a secondary. Instead of him physically charging, he would actually teleport to the enemy, not charge. So that's kind of how things are going to be working with that. So going back to Bard here, so like I said, your primary would be Bard, secondary, so if you choose Mage, you would go after Magician. So there's 64 of these things, so we're not going to go completely into each one of them. Missy, if there's one that you would like to see, or if anyone would like to try to see if there's actually something about them, then we can go into them. So a bard become a minstrel, so I can definitely see that. A bard tank is a siren. I do want to pop up this one. I'm going to pop up this one here because siren definitely, yeah, see, like I said, these already talk about bards and stuff like that, but
they'd be sirens because bards are musical and singers, and sirens sang to lure the sailors to their deaths.
Yeah.
As they smashed upon the rocks.
Yeah, so maybe, actually, yeah, you're actually right. So if you're a tank, you technically would sing to attract, you would attract your enemies to, like, you know, your song was so beautiful that your enemies had got more aggro onto you or something like that. Yeah, I could see that. Your music attracts, enhances your aggro, defenses. Yeah, see, Missy? And you said you didn't know about gaming or anything like that as much as you thought you did.
Well, I know about lore.
Yeah.
I do know a lot of my lore.
So, bard and a ranger. Right? It's a clever way to look at it, right? Yeah. I didn't even think, like, I was like, oh, siren, you know? But yeah, your songs would attract, enhance your aggro defenses, I would think. So, that's cool. So, a bard and a ranger would be a song warden. See, that's weird. Coming from, I don't think they've even actually showed what the bard looks like. But in Final Fantasy XIV, as you know, a bard actually wields a bow. So a bard and a ranger, I mean, I guess a ranger doesn't necessarily have to have a bow, but so song warden, I have to see. I'll go into that real quick. I want to see if they have anything. Nope.
Not really. It's all the same stuff. I don't think they've really.
Yeah. Song caller.
I keep going ahead.
Yeah, so bard and summoner. So song caller, I'd almost I'd almost think that through
like a siren too, right?
Yeah, but like you would be summoning, maybe you summoned, I don't know, a choir, right?
It says sometimes summoner augments, they can summon weapons.
Yeah, so maybe as a bard and a summoner, you can summon. Oh yeah, here you go. This would be something you would summon, like a harp, and that harp would play and maybe like boost your allies around you.
Like the summoned weapons, they say the summoned weapons are not able to be equipped, but they can be used when summoned.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah. So bard and cleric, soul weaver, definitely probably healing through song. A bard and fighter, tell sword. And then a bard and rogue, of course, trickster. So
that makes sense.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. All right, skills and abilities, Missy.
So the bards have engaging combat abilities, not just buffs. Bards will have a wide range of abilities to choose from, such as wordsmithing, acting, and musical aspect. Bards may be able to play musical instruments such as flutes and bagpipes. They will offer proximity-based or proc-based healing to a much lesser degree than clerics. They will not be the downtime class. This is the role of social spaces within nodes. Bards will have utility outside of combat like all other classes. Restoring rested XP will not be a bard utility. Makes sense? In other games, bards tend to be a relatively passive kind of way of playing, and that's really not the direction that we want to go with it. We want every class to be fun to play. We want every class to be viable. We want you to feel like you are doing something, that your moment-to-moment gameplay is fun. So a lot of that kind of stuff is going to be based on combos, on reactive interactions between your party members and the mob that you're fighting, or the player character that you're fighting. There's going to be a lot of movement from the front lines to the back lines to kind of help out and make sure that everybody is supported in the way that they're doing it, and that you are also being active in what you're doing. You're not just sitting in the back passively playing a lute and not having any fun.
Just sit in the back.
Well, that might be fun. I might enjoy just sitting back, playing music, keeping everybody's, buffs up.
On
So
your
bars
alt
can
that you're
choose.
never gonna make.
Yeah, exactly. Bedouin's going to take up all my time. I mean, eventually down the road, I may have time for an alt. We'll see. So bards can choose to activate buffs that augment tanking, evasion, DPS, and healing abilities in their proximity. Some buffs are related to how the bard performs in combat. If a bard lands a skill shot against a target, allies within a certain range might be granted a temporary buff that relates to the skill that the bard used. Let's say the bard is using a weapon, has a sword out, and does some gladiatorial-looking performance attacks, and it looks so great. It inspires his friends around him to increase their multiplier on critical damage, and now they deal additional damage against targets for the next 10 seconds or 8 seconds. So you're going to need to be active. You're going to worry about your position, the relation of the position of your party members to you in order to accentuate really what you offer the party.
I didn't even think about bards being like actors and musicians and all that type of stuff. So that changes a lot. Also, Lore said stop being lazy with alts. I tell that all the time, Laura. I tell her all that all the time.
No, I'm going to have way too much to do with Bedouin from what I'm hearing. She's going to have, a lot to do. All my time's going to have to be invested with her for a long time.
But what if you get sick of mage and you're like, I want to go play something else? You only get to choose one.
Like a tank? Like go beat the crap out of something?
Exactly.
I'm going to go smash things. Tank smash.
All right.